93.7 Express FM. We are passionately Pompey.
Jamal Lowe's onside. The flag stayed down. Jamal Lowe, nonchalant, brilliant. Pompey will be promoted at this rate.
Cheltenham Town, that'll stick in my mind forever.
Pure, unadulterated Pompey.
You can't be involved with this football club and not be emotional. The club is special.
Action and reaction.
It's an exciting challenge. I'm proud to be the manager of Portsmouth.
Giving Pompey fans a voice.
The whole stadium erupted singing Play Out Pompey. It was a surreal moment.
To do it with a club like Portsmouth was just incredible. That was the reason why I joined the club.
This is the Football Hour.
The one team that stands out, that's historic, that's had great success, that has a fan base that is amazingly passionate, is Portsmouth.
The annual winter fixture congestion is upon us. Pompey face a demanding 13 games in league and cup competition between now and the end of January. Will the pressures of constant football catch up with this undoubtedly talented squad? Speaking of the squad, there are 7 players out of contract next summer and 4 loanees returning to their parent clubs. We ask, who do you feel the Blues need to keep hold of, with the prospect of Championship football in August becoming more and more likely? We would love to hear your thoughts on those matters, as well as Tuesday's 13th league win of the season and Sunday's FA Cup tie at Rochdale. Get in touch following all the usual methods. Text 81400 and start your message with the word Express. You can email studio@expressfm.com or tweet us at ExpressFM. As ever, a very good evening to you wherever you are listening in from, and welcome to the Friday Football Hour.
This is the Football Hour, 93.7 Express FM.
A very good evening to you wherever you are listening in from to the Friday Football Hour for the second time of the season. In this evening's show, we'll be discussing the potential of a tough winter schedule, players out of contract next summer, as well as loanees returning to their parent clubs. We'll come to those in a bit. We'll also be looking ahead to Sunday's cup tie and hearing from you back at home, hopefully. Alongside me tonight, I have Ollie Cook, who is the Pompey Women's media manager, and I also have Pompey Women's chairman Eric Coleborn, who's also a bit of a Football Hour legend here on Express FM. So, lads, first of all, it's great to have you in the studio, Ollie.
No, it's great to be here with you. Cheers for having me on.
And Eric.
Good evening, Ollie. Good evening, Jake. It's great to be here again.
And it's great to be on the other side of the desk this time, Eric, as opposed to alongside you where Ollie is now.
Well, yes, it's great to see you in that chair, Jake. Fits you well.
Thank you very much. Eric, were you at the game on Tuesday?
Was I at the game? Yes.
What did you make of it?
Very good. Very good. I thought, another, you've got to say, very professional performance. 2-0. I thought it was quite a comfortable 2-0. Thought we played very well, specifically in the first half. I thought when we went to 2-0, possibly the intensity went out the game slightly. Yeah, I think that'd be fair to say. And you're sat there thinking, let's hope they don't get one because the game would change. But they, to be fair, I don't think they really created that much in the second half. There was one early chance when it was 1-0, but I thought after the 2-0, I thought it was reasonably comfortable looking back on it.
Pompey overall just showing their true class and why they're top of the league, really, then.
It had that look about it, I think. It did have that look about it.
A professional performance from our point of view.
Very much so, very much so.
If you want to get in touch with us here at Express FM, please do. We'd love to hear from you. What are your thoughts on that Tuesday night game, the 13th league win of the season for the Blues? You can text us to 81400, start your message with the word Express. Make sure you do that, otherwise we will not get it. You can email us at studio@expressfm.com, or you can tweet us at ExpressFM2. Ollie, how much confidence in this is this side breeding into you looking ahead to the second half of the season?
I think definitely we've got a lot more confidence within the squad this year. I think Kenny Jackett's got the tactics spot on all throughout this season so far, and the players seem to enjoy wanting to play with each other, and it did show on Tuesday night.
They're just playing so well, and now it's 5 games in a row that we've won, 10 unbeaten since that Gillingham game, which we're not going to go into. Just how different, Eric, is this team in comparison to last season? Just how has it all come about?
Well, great management is how it's come about, I think. Lots and lots of hard work by Kenny and Joe and all the backroom team. Obviously looking at players, and they do look a really great bunch of players everywhere you look at. I think everyone from outside always says, we know how strong you are when we look at your bench, how strong that bench is. And I look at it and I think, yeah, they're right there. That's a really good bench we've got. We've got game changers.
Yeah. I mean, we've still got the likes of Andre Green, David Wheeler.
Yeah.
Ben Close, who at the start of the season really asserted himself into the squad. Ollie, just looking at that squad depth, do you feel that over the next kind of month, 2 months or so, as we go into this kind of festive period, we call it, we'll look more into it in the next part of the show, but do you feel that with the depth in the squad we've got, do you think that Kenny will possibly be dipping into that to make sure that we get through this period okay?
I think we've got to be honest, because these players can't play all these games for the same team. So, I mean, we've got to look at the likes of Andre Green, who would get into the championship sides, really, but he's not fully fit at the moment, I don't think. But, I mean, the bench we've got, I think every player on there would get into other League One sides. So, I think we've got a team, a whole squad overall to be challenging where we are now in the league.
And it's great to see goals coming from all over the pitch, Eric, as opposed to, I know we talk about it every week, Eric, Ollie and Brett Pittman, that kind of debate, but in reality, it's a team game, and yet again on Tuesday night, we showed just how important that is.
Oh, absolutely. It's great you've got so many leading goal scorers. That's fantastic. It's great to obviously have the goals shared round like that. I do like in a side, in a championship winning side, you will normally see quite a number of players scoring quite a lot of goals. The goals are really shared round. And I think that is important. And I mean the you're talking about the bench there. I mean, we've got players on the bench that you think, blimey, obviously you got Brett Pittman, Andre Green. I mean, we haven't seen really Andre Green yet. I was speaking to a season ticket holder Aston Villa during the week, and he was saying, blimey, I can't believe you got Andre Green.
Well, he was getting ahead of Jonathan Codger in their side last year, so. Yep. It's just definitely a good player to have at this level. So
quite a coup for us.
I think it is. I think it really is a coup for us. When you're hearing Aston Villa supporters, their first team, obviously were chasing, missed out on the playoffs last season, certainly be expecting to try and get up this season. To have a player like that they rate loaned out to us, I think it speaks volumes, doesn't it? It actually speaks volumes.
And we were speaking on Pompey Live on Tuesday night, and I think we touched on it a little bit on Monday, Eric, about Ronan Curtis coming back from the international break and how he might kind of have an impact on the side. Will he kind of come back with a lot of confidence? Will he come back maybe not with his head hung, but, kind of too much confidence as such, if that's even possible? But he's come back, he's scored a goal, and he's coming out a really good performance, Ollie.
Yeah, he's one of the fiery players we got on our side, and I think we've lacked that since the likes of Michael Doyle we had a few years ago. But he's a real talisman for us, I think, and he's had a really good start to the season, and he's going to be one of the players that if we do go up, he's going to be a main part of that.
Just crazy to look at the league table now, lads. But 19 games, nearly halfway through the season, still only lost one game in the league at the moment. Touch wood. 4 games to the halfway mark. 44 points, 4 points clear up top, but most importantly, 6 points clear of third, and 12 points clear of seventh out of the playoffs. Just shows how much we've improved since in the summer to get this squad to be competing for automatic promotion as opposed to just, I suppose, settling for playoffs.
Well, I don't think anybody at the beginning of the season could have, in their wildest dreams, thought we'd be where we are. I mean, let's be fair about it. If you average 2 points a game, if we'd been on somewhere about 30, 38, that sort of region, I'd have been highly delighted with that. I thought it was brilliant start. To have 44, that is just totally unbelievable. It's been a great run, and you've just got to congratulate the players and the management for producing week in, week out, which is it's that consistency.
I think any Pompey fan would have bitten your hand off if you'd offered them 44 points. Not even into December yet, going into the start of the season. But do join us after the break. If at home, if you're listening, wherever you are, please let us know. We'll be going over some of the latest stories out of Portsmouth Football Club, including expiring contracts and one Blues player who has a recently exposed knack for baking cakes. We'd love to hear from you, so please do get in touch. You can tweet us at Express FM, you can text us 81400 and start your message with the word Express, or you can email us at studio@expressfm.com. We'll also be hearing from the boss Kenny Jackett ahead of this Sunday's trip to Rochdale in the FA Cup.
All of our focus will go on the weekend and trying to get through the cup competition and, as I say, go as far as we can.
So don't go anywhere and join us after the break.
This is the Football Hour, 93.7 Express FM.
Welcome back to the Friday Night Football Hour here on 93.7 Express FM. This evening I am joined by Ollie Cook and Eric Coleborn. So, lads, the Blues are fast approaching the January transfer window, and it's kind of come about on social media this week that, I mean, that's not until the kind of jam-packed December schedule, of course, but we'll come back to that. That means that out-of-contract players can now begin negotiations with other clubs to sign for them, and we've seen in previous seasons losing a few kind of assets that have been, really good players for us. Ender Stevens, just to name one of few. But the 7 players whose contracts do expire in the summer next year are as follows, and you can see these online at Express FM as well if you're listening at home. We've got Jack Watmore, Nathan Thompson, Gareth Evans, Danny Rose, Dion Donoghue, Matt Casey and Dan Smith. I'll go over those again. Jack Watmore, Nathan Thompson, Gareth Evans, Danny Rose, Dion Donoghue, Matt Casey and Dan Smith. Do let us know your thoughts back home by contacting us. Who of those players do you feel deserve to have their contracts renewed, or do we feel like we should take a further option for them? Do you feel like they are capable of playing in the Championship if we are to get there, or what? Please do get in touch. You can text us 81400 with your word Express at the start of the message, tweet at ExpressFM, or email studio@expressfm and .com. Please do let us know where you're listening in from as well. I'll come to you first, Eric. Out of those 7 players just mentioned, I know it's a subject we can't really go into in too much detail, of course, but there's some big names in there. I should imagine we'll be looking at extending quite a few of those.
Yes, I think so. I mean, obviously, there's a couple of names that stand out, obviously, that are in the side at the moment. Jack Watmore being a definite. It's great to see Jack playing, isn't it? Fantastic.
Especially after all the injury.
Yes. I'm so pleased for him, so delighted. I think I'm right in saying that they're in contract talks sort of thing, and I'll
bring it up because I know that now is kind of that time where the talks do tend to begin.
Absolutely, and where else would anybody want to be than at Portsmouth in the going forward? So yes, I mean there's going to be 1 or 2 players. Let's be fair about it, and I don't know. Obviously, there are, I think, 4 of those players you mentioned there are first team or have been first team this season. Obviously, Donoghue's injured. But Gareth Evans, I can't remember the other player was now. That
we got Jack Watmore, Nathan Thompson, Gareth Evans, Nathan Thompson.
Obviously, he's in the side, been in the side, but played on Tuesday as well. Now, let's be fair about it. Gareth Evans has been fantastic this season.
Not only that, but he's kind of like a local hero here, isn't he? Everyone loves him.
Yes, he's got that tag, hasn't he?
Yeah.
That endeared himself to everybody, and I think it's just the way he plays. That sort of wholehearted. You feel Gareth gives you everything in a game. There's no holding back. There's no 90% game with Gareth. Gareth goes out there and he gives 100%. If he makes a mistake, it's an honest mistake. That's what I like, and he really, really does work. I mean, he's scored some goals. I mean, the goal at Scunthorpe was one of the best goals I've seen this season. Watching that back, that was a great goal.
It was a great little chip and great control as well to kind of lead up to that.
But I'm sure Kenny will be, they'll be talking to the players and they'll be, got it organised. That's the beauty of Kenny. I hear on the grapevine he's probably the most organised manager we've ever had.
It seems to be I know every football club is really to an extent, but a very, very professional setup at Fratton Park and at Pompey. But Ollie, amongst that list of 7 players potentially being released come the end of the season, Matt Casey and Dan Smith, 2 youngsters, and I say youngsters, I'm only 20 myself, so I don't know if I should use that phrase, but 2 young players who have come through the ranks, not had too much of an opportunity for us. Do you think that regardless of whether we're playing Championship football or League One football next season. Hopefully it is Championship next season. But do you feel as though these players deserve to be given a fresh new contract?
Well, I'm 17, so I use the term youngsters myself. But I mean, Casey, I've seen him play for Gosport. He's currently on loan there at the moment, just come back from an injury. But he's a very tall centre half. I believe he's about 6'7", so he could definitely be one for the future. And I believe Dan Smith's just had a loan spell at Bognor as well. But I think I don't see any reason why we can't keep them on. I mean, and loan them out to teams like Bognor and Gosport to develop them. Yeah, I mean that's the only reason they're going to learn. The only way they're going to learn. I mean, youth football's good, but you can't beat playing in the men's game. So I'll be looking for them to stay on. Yeah.
And as much as we give it kind of a bit of knack from time to time, but the Checkatrade Trophy as well as a decent platform for them to step up to. Haji Minoga against Crawley this season. Louis Dennis, okay, we haven't seen much of him. He's not a youth product as such, but kind of a fringe player, we could say, who has really impressed in those games. And unfortunately, due to the kind of nature of the way we're playing, unable to burst into the side. But as well as those 7, we got 4 loan players to kind of worry about as well. It's quite a bit of a conundrum. We've got Joe Mason from Wolves. His expires actually on January the 2nd, so quite soon. Ben Thompson, I don't think he even needs describing. Just a fantastic asset to have in the midfield. His expires at the end of the season, as does Andre Green from Villa and David Wheeler from QPR. Eric, Ben Thompson, wow.
Yes, he has certainly played some very good games this season. He's very highly thought of again, which is, I think it shows where we are, that we've been able to borrow a player of that quality.
Yeah,
I know he's highly thought of player at Millwall, and he's come down and he's grasped his chance, hasn't he? And that's the beauty of it. He's a young player, and
he's hungry to succeed, really,
absolutely,
and make a point.
And he's got that, a bit of ability about him. He likes to get the ball and use it, and he's fitted in well. That's what I think they look for, is that players that will fit in with what we've already got.
Yeah.
And he's done really, really well, been very exciting on the ball.
He's a very, how can I say it? He's a very Millwall player, Ollie. He likes to put in those hard-hitting challenges. He likes to, but he does it well. He comes away with the ball almost every time, and it's what really brings the Fratton Park atmosphere up to its knees, really. It really stones everyone on, and everyone loves it.
Well, he's an absolute nuisance, isn't he, in the middle of the park? But when he first came in, I mean, you see his height and you think, oh, is he going to be able to cope with the way we play? But I mean, this season it's just changed. I mean, we do play long ball sometimes, but mainly it's on the floor now. But he turns and controls the ball really well, and he sets up a few counter attacks. But I think he should definitely stay on. But obviously Millwall can recall him in January. Yeah. But here's hoping they don't do that, because he'd be crucial in our attempt to get promoted.
It's a tough one, really, because I mean, Thompson himself has actually come out in an interview at the start of the season saying that he's Millwall through and through. He wants to go back. He wants to burst into their team and become the captain one day. And I'm sure that Millwall fans as well will highly rate him at the Den. And they're not having the best of seasons, Eric. They're struggling at the bottom of the Championship. There's a potential that they could recall him in January. If they don't, then he could be a great asset for them next season, whether they're in League One or in Championship again.
Yes, I think it's a difficult situation for them. Let's be fair about it. I don't think they would have anticipated themselves being pretty close to the relegation zone, very close to the relegation zone. I think they'd be thinking that they were more towards the playoff end of the table.
Yeah.
They were expecting to be in that sort of,
especially after last season.
Yes, I mean, they only just missed out on the playoffs, and they're very, very strong at home. And you felt that, they'd be well up there at least. And yes, it's been a surprise. Now, whether you would recall a young player to put him into a relegation fight,
it's a lot of kind of pressure to put on a young player.
Well, yes, and also I think you've got to be a little bit careful. I don't know quite how they play, what their formation is, and their tactics.
Usually the normal 4-4-2 in Millwall these days.
Yeah,
with the big man up front, Steve Morrison.
Well, I mean, it's whether they could fit him in or not. I don't keep close enough eye on the Millwall team and where their strengths and their weaknesses lie. But I'm told that I think it's more defensively they're struggled a little bit this season.
And Thompson can do a job there. Not in defence, obviously, but in a kind of central kind of defensive midfield.
Yeah, I think that it's more the centre halves and the fullbacks that have been maybe the problem there from... But as I say, I don't really I haven't taken a great deal of interest in Millwall's games this season, other than to, as I say, I've seen them, some highlights on occasions, and obviously looked at their league position as you do. But Ben Thompson, I think he's one for the future. But whether he's ready for the Championship as of January, I don't know. I would have thought that ideally, from Millwall's point of view, they'd want to leave him here for the season, to get that season under his belt, more experience, everything else.
And surely see in our position in the league as well. I mean, wouldn't Millwall want him to win League One? I mean, wouldn't that be something good to put on his CV?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think obviously from the point of view that, value-wise, yes, that would be extremely useful. But I think from their angle, they would think that give him a year and then bring him back and then fit him into the Millwall side. I'm always... I think any manager would be worried about bringing a young player off loan to put him into a relegation fight. You can kill a player sometimes, especially young players. You've got to be very, very careful what you do. And, of course, that's where Kenny's so strong.
And it's harsh on the other three as well, in respects to injuries and kind of being kept out of the squad, really. Joe Mason up front, he's had a couple of minor injuries here and there, kept out by not only Holly Hawkins, who's played a very vital team role, but, Brett Pittman on the bench. You can't really move him, can you? And Andre Green, we know he had a cyst in his knee, he had that operated on, so he was out for quite a while. And David Wheeler, who only really now is coming back into the frame for selection. So it'll be a tough decision for Kenny, Ollie, going into that, taking into consideration. But going into the second half of the season, I should imagine these players will get a little more game time should they keep fit.
Yeah, I think definitely the likes of Joe Mason and Andre Green and even Wheeler as well should get more game time. But I mean, we've got a set 11. I think at the moment Kenny Jackett knows what his best 11 is, but I think it's better using the squad players throughout the season rather than bringing players in January, because I think they're quite a close knit squad now at Pompey, which we don't always have. So I think we should stick with the squad of players we got, and I think we'll be all right.
After the break, we'll be continuing to talk all things Pompey. But before we leave you for that, we hear from Pompey boss Kenny Jackett, who spoke to iFollow at the training ground yesterday.
It's just the travelling more than anything, and but it is what it is. And if you want a run in the cup, you have to come through many different tests, from a non-league side away from home, as in the last one, to somebody in our level, to a place we've already been. It's many tests, and if you want to do well and you want to progress, which we do, it is a competition we value and one that we want to get through in. And get into the later stages, and ultimately draw one of the big boys. That's where we want to do very well. So to do that again, you have to come through many tests. This is our latest one, and we're looking forward to the game.
Let's be clear, the fact you won 3-1 up there earlier in the season has no bearing at all on this one, does it?
I don't think so. A lot will be known by either side about each other now, with almost half of the season going on, and you do get to know the other sides in your level, before Christmas, and obviously but that'll be the case with both teams. And as you say, matched each other once in fixtures so far, but looking forward to it. We do really want to progress if we can. For us, with the Sunday game, obviously Tuesday nights is more the problem, really, because of the checker trade then, comes inside 48 hours. But all of our focus will go on the weekend and trying to get through the cup competition, and, as I say, go as far as we can.
Was there any thought about moving that Arsenal game perhaps to the Wednesday?
Yeah, we did consider it, but obviously, the Saturday's a big game really as well, then after that in terms of the league, so next week, and just something had to give somewhere. So we thought just maybe accelerate it, get on with the game, and give us the best possible chance. come next Saturday against Southend.
Of course, there's nothing more contagious than winning, and you're doing that at the moment.
Yeah, it's a nice run that we're on, and hard-fought win on Tuesday night, but great victory for us again, and in a situation where we want to continue that, whichever the tournament, and wherever we're playing, we want to try to keep that momentum. It's hard to earn, it's hard to keep going, and we have to work hard to do that.
Did you pick any injuries up the other night?
The only one is Dave Wheeler came on and just felt his back stroke hamstring. I don't know how long he'll be out or whether he'll be fit for this weekend. He's the only one with in terms of injuries. We're hopeful of having Mason back and around it if we can. Some little bit to do in terms of those two lads for the next few days.
That was Kenny Jackett speaking ahead of this weekend's FA Cup tie at Rochdale. Please do join us again after this short break.
This is the Football Hour, 93.7 Express FM.
Welcome back to the Friday Football Hour here on 93.7 Express FM. A very warm welcome. It's very warm here in the studio. I'm not sure about outside. It's absolutely freezing. Before the break, we spoke about some players in their expiring contracts and loan players who could potentially be joining back up with a squad. But if you'd like to get anything off your chest in regards to those and the busy winter schedule of fixtures, we'll come to that in a bit, or anything else in relation to our beloved Blues, then please do get in touch if you haven't done so already. You can do that. You can email us at studio@expressfm.com. You can tweet us at expressfm, or you can text the word express at the start of your message to 81400. Before we go into this next part, Ollie, we have a question for you. Sent in through the text. It's from Mark H. Do you know Mr. Mark H?
I don't think I do. I don't want to upset anyone.
Okay, so the question for you, Ollie. If a certain Premiership team from down the M27 offered you a job as their media officer on Monday, big kind of salary, all that kind of stuff, would you take it? And why?
Now, I don't want to go against Pompey here, but I think going with college and my part-time job at the moment, I'd definitely consider it. I wouldn't turn it down straight away. It would be weird, put it that way. It's not going to happen. But I mean, if it did, I would definitely have to consider it. Yeah.
I think that's more of a bit of a tongue-in-cheek kind of comment there. But hopefully, you wouldn't.
Hopefully, we'll see.
So that's around about this part of the show where we were hoping to look ahead to the weekend fixtures involving the football clubs in and around the Portsmouth area. Henry Deacon now takes us through the notable games taking place around the city.
Following a midweek washout, tomorrow will see a welcome return to action for many of our local sides. In the National League, Haverton Waterloo will make the trip to Greater Manchester to take on Salford City at Moor Lane. Graham Alexander's side have taken to life in the National League like duck to water, where they find themselves second and just a point off leaders Leyton Orient. Lee Bradby will be hoping for better fortunes for his Hawks side, however, after losing their unbeaten streak on Tuesday night following a 3-1 defeat to Dagenham and Redbridge at Victoria Road. The Hawks will also be hoping to fire themselves further away from the bottom four for results and increase their current 2-point buffer from the bottom four. In the Southern League Premier, Gosport Borough looking for back-to-back wins tomorrow afternoon when they make the trip to Swindon Supermarine. The Bow on their last game at Privet Park by stunning high-flying Hendon 3-1. Craig McAllister's side had their clash with Weymouth on Tuesday night called off due to a waterlogged pitch. Moneyfields endured the same fortunes on Tuesday night with the weather, missing out on the chance to go top of the Southern League Division 1 South. Deb Carter's side host Street tomorrow at Dover Road. Money's opponents currently occupy a playoff spot, but the goal for Carter's side is to be top of the tree come December 25th. It's a big weekend for Baffins Milton Rovers in the FA Vars. The Rovers make the trip to Bradford Town in the third round of the competition. Elsewhere, and in the Wessex League Premier Division, AFC Portchester make the trip to Bashley. Fareham Town, who has some decent form, will late host Portland United, whilst Horndean will look to be putting the defeat to Sholing last week behind them when they host Bournemouth. In the First Division, Petersfield Town hosts Andover Town at Love Lane, whilst United Services Portsmouth hosts AFC Stoneham as we look ahead to another busy weekend of football in the Portsmouth area.
That was Over the White Line's Henry Deacon giving us an update on the local football in the Portsmouth area and where they are this weekend. So Moneyfield's at home on Saturday, and also on Saturday, if you're heading up to Rochdale, if you've got nothing to do on a Saturday and you want your bit of football fix as well as the Pompey game, of course, They're away to Salford City, not too far from Rochdale, both within the kind of Manchester area. A long journey, you don't kind of want to be doing that there and back, which is what I'll be doing this weekend. It's just coming up to almost quarter to 7 now. In the studio this evening, I have Eric Coleborn and Ollie Cook, as mentioned, alongside me. Ollie, I believe the Pompey women also have a cup game this Sunday.
We do, yeah. We start our FA Cup campaign this Sunday away at AFC Wimbledon, who we played in the same round last year and got through 2-1 at Sutton. It's being held at Carl Shelton's War Memorial Ground this Sunday, and it'd be a good test for the girls. We've not had the best of times in the league lately. We had a 2-1 defeat at Cardiff last week, which we should have come away with at least a draw in the end. But it'd be good to get the FA Cup run underway on Sunday. So
it was at this stage last season, Eric, that Pompey beat Wimbledon at the same stage of the competition. It was 2-1 at Gander Green Lane. How do you feel in comparison to last season that this season's game will go? Do you feel a similar result, or are you expecting a tougher challenge?
Well, we're confident, Jake. We're in the league higher than Wimbledon, and we believe that our game is strong. As long as we play up to our ability, we should win the game. But it's the FA Cup. And we all know what happens in the FA Cup.
Anything can happen.
Absolutely.
The magic of the cup even still lives in women's football.
Of course.
Absolutely. It happens. This is what makes football such a great game, isn't it? You can never predict any result for 100% certain, and that's the same as on Sunday. Yes, we expect to go there and to win and to beat them, but you can never say 100% that's what happens. Football's a funny game. All sorts of things can occur, as we know.
Eric, we've got a text in here from someone. There's no name attached to it, but they say, Eric, what are your views on the fantastic pitch down at Baffin's Milton Rovers?
Yes, there's a subject that I've talked about before. It's a fantastic pitch, absolutely fantastic. We're very, very fortunate. We obviously share Baffin's Milton's ground at the PMC Stadium on the Eastern Road, and it's absolutely superb. Steve Cripps, the chairman there, has done a phenomenal job. It's a lovely little ground. It's not just a pitch. It's what else they've done in the ground. It's a really, really nice place to not just to play football, but to go and watch football. Huge new decking area has been produced since when we played our last home game.
The last home game.
Yeah, we watched. We were there. We saw the new facility there, where you can come out the clubhouse onto the decking area, straight anked onto the decking area, and it's a lovely place to sit with a drink and watch the game. So,
Ollie, we've had Eric on the show quite a few times, somewhat of a regular on the Football Hour here on Express FM, but this is only your second appearance on the station. You've come on over the white line with Henry, so just give us a quick kind of bit of information who you are, what you kind of do for Pompey Women.
Well, I am the club's media manager, along with my co-media manager Max as well. Basically we run the social media channels for the club, do all the interviews and articles which are online. I create the matchday programme for the club as well. So it was a really it was a great opportunity for myself and Max to both join the club back in November last year, and we're both delighted to be at the club.
And a very, very professional social media account that is run, I must say, from an unbiased point of view. If you don't follow them on Twitter, you can do at official Pompey W.
Yeah,
W standing for women, of course. So if you can't make it to Rochdale on Sunday, but you still require your local-ish football fix, then do head up to Carl Shelton's FC's War Memorial Ground. Entry is free for all. Eric, I'm told.
Yeah, it's free for all, according to Wimbledon's Twitter.
Okay. So entry is free for all, and the postcode, if you need it for that, the Carl Shelton FC War Memorial Ground is SN52PW, and it's a 2 p.m. kickoff. Yep.
Correct, yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, so after the break, we go into the fourth and final part of this evening's show, Where Has the Time Gone? And we will be taking a closer look ahead to this weekend's cup tie at Rochdale, and also hearing from Kenny Jackett.
If you can keep it consistent, then that's great as a manager, but it doesn't work that way always, and there's people need a break for different reasons. So whether this is the right weekend for it, we'll see.
So don't go anywhere, we'll see you shortly.
This is the Football Hour, 93.7 Express FM.
Welcome back to the Friday Football Hour here on Express FM. Before the break, we heard briefly from Blues boss Kenny Jackett, and now we can hear the full extent of that second interview from yesterday afternoon, where iFollow's Johnny Moore caught up with the gaffer at the Roco training ground.
We'll see. I think each people ask me that, do you like to change and or like to keep it consistent? If you can keep it consistent, then that's great as a manager, but it doesn't work that way always, and there's people need a break for different reasons. So whether this is the right weekend for it, we'll see. But I think it's very much you have to take each situation as it comes. I don't think there's a set of rules that you can just say, we don't change a winning team, or we rotate the squad. It's the right thing at the right time, right decision at the right time. And as ever, you work off the players. The most important people at the club are the players, and you work off them, you assess them.
So it's hurtling towards that infamous month of January. Would you want to change that team out there? Does it need to change?
I think we'll need to look at our group, our team, our squad as a whole. Yes, you have to do that in every window, and I always talk about trying to maximise every window, whether that be new contracts for people or bringing people in. So that will happen. Definitely, there'll be an assessment of the whole group, not just the starting 11. And if we can get stronger, we will. And I would suggest if you've done well in the summer, if you've done your work, then it should be tweaking rather than wholesale changes, and that's where we'll be.
Are there specific targets you have in mind?
Yeah, we have a good take on we feel the market, if you like, and in particular. The market that we can get that can improve us, that can take us forward, that we're interested in, for our club at this particular time. But as I said, I do feel in terms of the windows, every summer that is a major one, and this one is an opportunity. It's an opportunity to get better if you can, and we'll be in that category. If we can get better, we will. And if we can get stronger, we will. But obviously, it won't be wholesale changes.
I think over the next month there's something like 8 games to get through. It's an important period.
It is, and between now and let's say the last week of January, when there's chances, there's a lot of football and a lot can happen in that period. So to really try to assess the whole of the next transfer window would be difficult, but from my point of view and from us, for Mark, for Tony, for Joe, for Phil Boardman, for us inside the club, we have to make sure that we know exactly what's out there, what we need, and be ready should eventualities happen.
That was Kenny Jackett speaking to iFollow's Johnny Moore, previewing Sunday's FA Cup tie against Rochdale. Just a quick email here from Chris in Italy, who sends his regards from apparently a chilly 3 degrees in Bergamo. He said he's looked at our past results against all the teams we've played last season, or for those promoted or relegated the last time we played them, which is something that, Eric, you speak about sometimes on a Monday. And he says that the result is we've taken 44 points as opposed to taking 22 from last season. He's given his 3 reasons why he thinks wise: speed, passing accuracy, and team understanding moves and opportunities, and kind of really the whole squad gelling up really, really well together. Biggest threat again, apart from injuries and fatigue, is Ben Thompson being recalled back to Millwall, with the relegation worries a possibility. So yeah, thanks for your email, Chris from Italy there. We'd love to hear from you here on Express FM if you have anything to say quickly. Text 81400 with the word Express at the start of your message. You can tweet us at ExpressFM or email studio@expressfm.com. If you're heading to Rochdale on Sunday, just a bit of travel information for you. The postcode you'll need to enter if you're going up by car is OL11 5DR. The Crown Oil Arena is on Sandy Lane in Rochdale. The Blues will be accommodated in the Wilbert Lane stand, as they have done in their previous 2 visits in 2018, but also the Pearl Street stand behind a goal. It's just over 2 miles from Junction 20 on M62. If you exit that at Junction 20 and follow signs north for Rochdale along the A627, You can then follow the road signpost Bury and Rochdale Town Centre after reaching the end of the A627, and then head straight across the Roch Valley Way, go straight into Sandy Lane and continue along there, and about half a mile into that, the ground will be visible on your right-hand side. Car parking at the ground is now permitted for permit holders only, I'm afraid. So it will come to finding street parking on a first-come, first basis around the ground, and most streets do have resident-only restrictions, so do beware when parking if you are parking near the ground. It's also available at the Alder Hill Community School on Grieve Avenue, OL11 5EF, and that's about half a mile away from the ground, so not too far to walk. There's no early trains from Portsmouth to London on a Sunday morning, so do be wary of that as well. Go on www.nationalrail.co.uk to check up on the latest train information if you're heading to the game. It will take just under 7 hours and means travelling via London Euston, Manchester Piccadilly, and then Manchester Victoria to Rochdale. It will be possible to get back to Portsmouth after the match, luckily, despite it being quite a distance. The ground itself is a 40-minute walk from a station, or you can shorten that journey by catching a Metrolink tram from outside the station into the town centre. And according to the website, we were talking about off-air a minute ago, Ollie, about drums. They usually are allowed into the ground, although this can be reviewed on match day. So if you've got a drum or banners and flags with a fire certificate are allowed in the away end. But if you have any further details or further questions you'd like to run through, you can do via the Rochdale SLO Gina Buckley over at gina.buckley@rochdaleafc.co.uk. So, not long left of the show, lads. Going into the weekend's action, playing Rochdale away on Sunday, the third time we've been there in 2018, but a chance to progress in the FA Cup, Eric.
Big chance, Jake. As we were talking earlier, FA Cup, sort of really, really exciting times. The chance to, if we get through this third round, everybody's in, the big boys. You get a chance of not just a big team, but a big payday as well for the club, which would be great, and the chance for players to pit themselves against some higher opposition. And let's be fair about it. It'd be very interesting to see one or two teams come to Fratton Park for the third round of the FA Cup, I can think of.
Hopefully. We were speaking on Monday about James was really trying to come up with a question, really, because the team playing so well, and as well as they are, picking up the results that they are, it's so hard to find about, talking points for the shows. But we were suggesting that maybe a shake-up in the squad for one of these two games, Walsall or Rochdale. We saw against Walsall, on Tuesday night, that there wasn't too much of a shake-up. Kenny stuck with his first team, his preferred team, for that league visit, which obviously came out to be a good decision. But Ollie, do you see on Sunday that it being a cup tie, and although we do want to progress, that's quite clear, do you think that there is potential to switch one or two around? Maybe
one or two, but I think Kenny Jackett's really keen to go at all the competitions we play, and maybe we see a couple of changes here and there in the checker trade, but I think we would go for the same team that we had the other night against Walsall playing, and I think Kenny Jackett's really trying to go for the FA Cup like all the other competitions this year.
And we've got a text in here, Ollie and Eric. There's no name on this again, but the text does read, who are you fellas hoping for in the FA Cup third round if we progress, obviously, and why? Before we do get your answers on that, if we do get through to the third round on Monday, the draw is on Monday, we will be ball number 60. And there's a certain team, red and white, who are ball number 36. So just keep an eye out for those two numbers. So going back to that question, who are you lads hoping for in the FA Cup third round if we progress, and why? Eric, we'll start with you.
Well, as a sort of with my Pompey Women's chairman's hat on, if it was the Pompey Women, I would say probably Man United, obviously away because of the finances of the third round. That would be a massive payday for the club. But there's other teams as well. Arsenal, Man City. You could look at, and a few teams, isn't there, that would be good.
Yep. And Ollie, who are you hoping for, or who do you think we can get?
Well, I think you got to look at it as, do you want to get a League One or two team and progress? But I mean, the likes of Man United and Chelsea and Arsenal would do me nicely in the next round.
And a prediction from you two guys on the game Sunday. We'll start with you again, Ollie. Prediction?
1-1 and 1-1. Pompey to win the replay.
Oh, a replay does mean that the Charlton game on Tuesday, the 11th of December, I believe.
I believe you're right.
That sounds right.
At Fratton Park, that would be moved again. That'd be postponed again to accommodate the second round replay if we were to get one, or if Charlton were to get one. Eric, a very, very quick score prediction for Sunday.
Very confident again. I'm only going to go 2-0 because I think we'll keep it simple and just win 2-0.
Well, I can see us scoring 3 goals. We've been there twice in 2018. We scored 3 goals on both occasions. I think we're going to do that again. But I think it'll be a bit of a whitewash. I think it'll be 3-0. And coming to the next round, if we were to get there, I'm just hoping, as you two say, a big team potentially at Fratton Park or a decent away day. Thank you everyone for listening tonight to the Friday Football Hour, the second of the season. We are at Rochdale on Sunday, so if you want to get your radio fix of that, please join us on Pompey Live.